demonstration point of view, we first started off by, and again, this follows on a little bit to my consolidation demo from one of the prior sessions where, you can actually have different security assignments within Anaplan. In this case, you can have the role of a journal entry creator and or the role of an approver, and basically depending on what your role is, you may not necessarily have the ability to approve journal entries, but perhaps have the ability to create them. But you can activate those, these security settings directly within Anaplan. In fact, I'm on a dashboard right now that allows me to do that. As well, you can also indicate like what open periods you have as well within Anaplan. So right now we have the May open period, and all these other periods are closed. But you could also open up, prior periods, if you wanted to within Anaplan as well. And that also follows on nicely from the consolidation demo I did previously, where you can actually post entries into prior periods if needed. And here's how you can kind of control the access to that directly within Anaplan. Then we've got, we think about that flow chart, right? That bringing in that transactional data into Anaplan. So basically here I've got two different subledgers and I've got the GL information. So I'm just going to bring in this information. I'm just going to browse, and again, in this particular case, what you have is the ability to bring in this flat file into Anaplan and actually run that process. And actually, maybe I picked the wrong file here. Just bear with me for a second. Yeah, and basically now, we can now go ahead and select like what period we're going to bring this into. So I think I'm going to select May here, and I'm going to go ahead and actually I think this one was Accelytics. Just bear with me for a second. I'm going to bring this data into the May period. Go ahead and run it, and now what you've got is basically data that's been brought in. Now, what's interesting about this is that you'll notice that there's a very sort of long account string here, right, with different fields like the amount without, and what's interesting about this is that you're bringing in this data in like its native format. So Anaplan, whatever its chart of accounts is, whatever the different fields are, bringing in the data kind of as is. And this is an important part with Anaplan, is that whatever format that data is in, we can bring that data in as is, and then use Anaplan to do the mappings, if you will. So we're bringing that subledger data in as is in its native format. Then we're going to bring in the second subledger data. So I'm just going to pull this file in. Again, we're using flat files here, but they could be any format as well. Just keep that in mind. And then basically, we have also our ledger as well. So I'll just go ahead and upload the general ledger balances as well. So we'll bring that data in. Here we've got our general ledger balance. We'll go ahead and bring that in as well. Now we have sort of three sets of data into Anaplan, subledgers at their own sort of native format, as well as the general ledger information as well. And then what we do, you can then start, you can aggregate that information up. But then what they also wanted to do was actually look at journal entries as a result of this, right? So in this case, what Anaplan is able to do is automate the creation of those journal entries, because one of the challenges they had was having to generate these journal entries, and they ended up being sort of a manual exercise. But in Anaplan, what you're able to do is select. In this case, what we're doing is we're creating a journal entry like for gross sales and for discounts, and in this case, what you're able to do is actually say, okay, well, for these different, product types that we have, pick the debit account and credit account. And what you do is you do that on like a one-time mapping basis. And then Anaplan will automatically generate the journal entry as a result of that. And basically what you're doing is like setting these mappings up once, and then they just perpetually run automatically. And then you have the ability to post those journal entries, as an, review and approve those journal entries as an approver. Whereas the creator, potentially you're just adjusting potentially some of these mappings and maybe booking some other adjustments that are required more on a one-off basis, but those are also subject to review as well. But you've got the ability to kind of easily map and automate those journal entries so that when that subledger detail comes in and gets aggregated up, Anaplan's automatically populating those journal entries as well. And then we have the ability also to create like adjusting journals for those on those one time. So you have like these automated journals that get booked as a result of that subledger data coming in. But then you also have the ability to create new journal entries on the fly as well, where you can pick a specific period, put in some kind of commentary as well. And then from here, also, select like what account you want to book this to. So potentially it's going to be to, let's say, sales. What product is it going to be to? So you have the ability to kind of select these different products and, put in an amount. And again, what would the credit be? So maybe the credit's going to be like account receivable for CRM, and maybe that's going to be, 1,000 or something like that. So, you have the ability to kind of put in your debit and credit line items as well. And you'll notice that this entry has a status of draft. So what you have the ability to do, and you'll notice that, I don't have approver capability. So that is grayed out as per my security profile. But I can also like preview the impact of these journal entries as well, and immediately see kind of what the impact on the financials would be, as a result of that. And then you can also submit this journal entry as well. So it's submitted but not approved. And then potentially an approver could go in and actually approve this journal entry. So you have like that secure, that sort of secure process or audit trail as well, where you separate the role from the creator from the approver. And then also a critical part here was also confirming whether in fact this was entered in the ledger system, because ultimately there's a reconciliation process that occurs because you're posting that entry in Anaplan. That entry then needs to feed into the ledger because we're bringing in the adjusted values from the ledger back in Anaplan for matching purposes. So confirming whether in fact that has been entered in Great Plains. And again, this could be an automated indicator, so that when you're booking that entry or importing that entry into the ERP system, that automatically sets an indicator in Anaplan that it's been entered and now the process is complete. So for that balancing and reconciliation purposes. And so that's really what I wanted to share with you today in terms of this particular use case.